Welcome back to the channel. Winks here. If you want to know how to set up your Sage to completely obliterate every map that you go on, then stick around to the end of the video. Welcome back to the channel. Winks here. If you haven't already, go ahead and click that like and subscribe button, and while you're at it, go ahead and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on any videos that I upload. So today we're not going to waste any time. We're going to jump right into it. It should be a quick and easy video today. Today's video is coming to you courtesy of one of my subscribers. Shout out to King Gamer K. I talked to a lot of you in the comment sections here and there, and he has specifically requested this, so I figured why not. I typically like to hear from you, and I take some of my viewers' feedback, so that's why we're getting into this video today. So today's video is specifically about my Sage setup or my Sage build. Now typically you've heard me in other videos where I don't generally like to do videos like this because I believe that when it comes to builds and stuff like that, you should be mostly in some games trying to figure out how to set that up for yourself, because that's kind of part of the fun in this game, is messing with the mechanics and figuring out what kind of builds that you can come up with. But in this case, in Disgaea, it's understandable that there's certain ways to doing certain things in this game, so we're going to jump right into that. So my Sage build is as such. So most of these Evilties that I have on my character, the majority of them you're going to be able to get just from mastering your subclasses. If you haven't checked out that video that I posted, go ahead and go over to that video, check that out. But I know some of you, most of you, if not all of you, have already seen it and know how to do that and know what's up. But that's where you're going to get the majority of these, with the exception of Violence and Eclipse Power, which we're going to talk about that as well. So the first one that I have on my build, also, as you look at my screen here, you see I have the 4 unique Evilties. So another video that might be beneficial for you to go check out is my Evilty video. It explains how to unlock all these slots and how that works. So you might want to go check that one out too if you haven't already. But the first Evilty that I have on here is the Mass Blaster. Now that one just comes with the Sage. That you get that when you max out your levels for the Sage. That one's probably the easiest one to get out of all these. The next one, Greedy Disposition, the reason I have that one on there, so the Mass Blaster, as you can read on the screen, increased damage dealt by targets of the attack by 10%. So that was just a damage booster, and you're going to want that on your Sage. Greedy Disposition, as you see, it increases your stats by the money owns. Pretty simple, self-explanatory there. I have this Evilty on every character that I'm increasing stats for. The more hell that you have, HL, the better your character's stats are. Twin Heads, you get this one from... Oh, did I tell you how I got Greedy Disposition? I don't think so. Greedy Disposition comes from the Nether Noble, so once you've mastered those subclasses, you should have access to Greedy Disposition. Twin Heads, that just gives you a second attack if you don't move, and typically when I come onto a map, my Sage is the last character that I pull out, and I just leave them on the base panel so she's not moving, and she'll get a second attack. Now you take that and couple it with a second Sage with multi-attacker, and then you use the Maid, you're going to get 3 to 4 attacks at a time each turn. So Twin Heads is very important to have on there. That just maximizes how many attacks you can have. Final Blow. Final Blow comes from mastering the Feline subclass. If you're on a map, as you see there, if you attack a character and you manage to get them down to under 10% health and they're just not quite dead, you'll get another attack. And I think you actually get to witness that in my Item World farming video. Violence. Violence is one of those that is a little trickier to get your hands on, but it is very simple to understand how to get it. That comes from Void. So all you got to do to get Violence is unlock Void and then run him through Shara World on Super Overlord, because you don't want to do it on a lower tier Shara World. I recommend that you do all your runs in Shara World on the highest difficulty anyway, because if you don't, you are limited. There's tiers to your Evilties. Some are higher tiers than others. So if you go to a lower rank run through Shara World, you won't be able to create a scroll for that higher tier Evilties. So I just recommend just to simply bypass all that. Just every time you go on there, Super Overlord. That's how you get violence with Void. Purgatory. Purgatory increases damage dealt by criticals by 50%. That's just more damage to do, and when you're blasting these item worlds or any level that you're on, the more damage the better. You take that and you pair that with the Carnage Curry that has 100% critical anyway, then you just get 50% more damage, and that comes from the Dark Knight. You don't have to master the Dark Knight subclass. I think you only need rank 2 to get this one, but still, you might as well just master all the subclasses while you're at it. Explorer, this just increases your chances to encounter a mystery room when you're going through the item world. This comes from the Pirate class. Eclipse Power. So out of all these that I have on my build, Eclipse Power is probably the most difficult one to get your hands on. But again, the concept of how to get it is really simple. You have to beat Carnage Void to get this one. Now, I stated in another video that I did that you have to have a minimum of 50 million stats to beat him. So that's what you're going to need to do to get Eclipse Power. This is just kind of like an extra thing that I added afterwards when I started doing the item world farming. Right out the gate, when you're first starting, this isn't really that important. But once I got comfortable and I could get it, I went ahead and equipped it, because it's only one slot anyway. Every time you defeat a boss in the item world, you just gain a little bit more stats. So it's just, one of those things that gives you that little extra edge. Fatal Slash. So Fatal Slash is actually very easy to get. It's just like all the other ones. You master the subclass for the Rabbit, rank 6. And you get this. Now, this does make a huge difference in the item world, because it gives you a 30% chance to death blow any target that has a lower speed than you. So if you think about it, you got 6 attacks total on a map with the right team set up for item world farming, or any world basically. 1 out of 3 chance to just death blow them, no matter what their HP is. So that does make a difference. I'm telling you, if you go into a map and you don't have this equipped, you're going to see what I'm talking about in the number of enemies you're taking out at a time. So, that's pretty much it. There's some other ones that are recommended that you can, from other people's builds that I've seen. One that I've seen pop up is Mana Scarcity. I didn't equip that to mine because of how you got to get it. That's randomly found through Shara World. You got to go through, Super Overlord, and then at the end, there's an option to create a random Evilty. That's how you get Mana Scarcity, and that's why I don't have it, because I didn't want to waste all those times going in there and trying to find it. There's other ones on other characters that I've done that for, like Enemy Lure for my monster bait. I forget what her name is. What is her name? Cicely. So I have that on here for her. Enemy Lure. That's how I got that one. You got to go through Shara World, but I specifically wanted this one, so I stuck around for that one. As far as your Sage though, Desperation's another good one. You get that one from the Feline. And then Bullying I've seen on some people's builds. I don't use it on mine though. Starting out, you might want to, because it's easy to get. You might want to replace Violence with Bullying, to give you some extra stats or whatever, but you can get that from the Imp. But as of right now, once I got 50,000 stats or 60,000 stats, this is how I started setting it up. And a lot of these were from the beginning stages. The only ones that weren't really there in the beginning, I think, were Violence and Eclipse Power. But like I said, you can swap those out for a couple other Evilties. So, as far as my build for my Sage, that's pretty much it. When you're going through the item world, like I said in my item world video, You're going to want those 4 support characters, and, you know, I discussed their Evilties in that video, but you're going to want to have those paired with your Sage. Your Sage is the main one that you're going to focus on in the item world. And after you've done it for a while, you start collecting some of those traps, you know, you'll have a little bit more flexibility with your Evilties. You won't rely on some Evilties as much as the others. So, you know, again, this video is courtesy of, you know, one of my viewers. If you like the content, you know, great. I'm actually going to be dropping 2 videos this weekend. I appreciate you stopping by and checking this one out, and thanks.